Welcome back to the hot house with Richie Ray because I'm always in the hot house. I'm always in the hot house, brothers and sisters. How are all of you doing? I hope everyone had a happy Easter and everyone's having a good weekend and all that stuff. I have a special treat for you. Today, we're sitting down with the person behind the Postal Truth, a platform built by postal workers for postal workers, focused on documentation, policy literacy, and public access to official resources. But this conversation goes deeper than a website. It's about what happens when workers start asking difficult questions, when they start reading the policies for themselves, and when they begin documenting what they experience on the job. We're going to talk about how this started, why it was created, and what it reveals about the gap between official policy and real world practice inside the postal system. Most importantly, we're going to explore one central idea. What happens when workers decide they want clarity, accountability, and truth directly from the source? Let's get into it. My brother Angel, thank you for joining me tonight, brother.
Good to have you here, Rich. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. For everyone who doesn't know, explain to everyone who you are, where you're from, what's going on here.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Angel Guerra, and this is going to come as a shock for most of your viewers, I'm sure. But I'm actually a manager of customer service for Miami West Carrier Annex in Miami, Florida. Okay, I'm currently on administrative leave, medical leave, all that other stuff, pending disability retirement, and a whole litany of other things that I'm sure you've occasionally heard me rave about on my channel. MSPB, National Labor Relations Board. I mean, we're everywhere right now. We even started a coffee company.
Well, that's good to hear, brother. That's good to
Yeah.
hear. Um, so you're a supervisor.
Yeah, until I think the end of May, when I finally get to retire. That's if they let me.
Well, my brother, what really sparked all this? What's going on here? What created Postal Truth?
You know, Rich, I get asked that quite frequently because considering I'm a manager, and most managers they get this real bad stigma because of the way they were trained. The way I was trained is not the way the new managers are trained. I was trained by the old school managers that actually took the time to work with the craft. Okay. I grew up in the craft. I was in the union. I was a clerk for about 5.5, 6 years. A small rural town, San Cooley, Montana. Okay. Did that for about 5.5 years, 6 years, became an OJIT. Then after that, I wanted to move to a bigger city and move up. Not so much so I can boss people around because I don't believe in that. I grew up in a military house and we never did nothing. My dad taught me better than that. The idea was so that I can do more than what I was doing at the window. Opening the window, serving the customers was a good experience, but the higher you go, the more you can do for the community. So I was all about community. Again, working in a small town for a long time. It's what I got used to doing. So I went on a couple details, became an OIC out of an APO up in Shoto, Montana, about 6 hours or so before the Canadian border. And got my feet wet there, did that, worked that cluster for a little while, came back. I got promoted to supervisor in Billings, did that for a little while. Um, then I got a call to go back to Shoto. Postmaster quit. Long story short, I went back, did that for a few more months. Then I got promoted to postmaster. I wanted to learn more about the agency, and I wanted to give my son a better opportunity at a more structured school. And I heard a lot about the Florida school system and whatnot. And I told my wife, I says, you know what? Um, at this point already, I'm already a postmaster. And I says, you know what? I'm gonna take a lateral downgrade, go back to supervisor, so we can move to Florida. And that's where all this started, Rich. This whole thing right here. So worked in one station, Buena Vista, downtown Miami. Was Flagler and Buena Vista together. Did that for a couple months. Had a lot of personal issues with the structure in Florida. Coming from a place where everything was structured to a place where everything was in chaos was what caused me to do the things that I'm doing now. A lot of the stuff that I put out there for everybody is because of the situations that I went through in Florida. That they don't follow regulations well here in Florida at all. In fact, they abuse their authority most of the time. Some of the supervisors, they're really good. I worked with a couple that were amazing. And then it just got out of control. Me and the manager, we started butting heads. Because long story short, Rich, he screwed me out of some money, some overtime money I did. And it was from that trend right there that I noticed stuff. People was changing my clock rings. People were changing the clock rings of the carriers. Carriers would go out, and then next thing you know, they go home and they're clocked out for the day, and I knew nothing about it. Now, mind you, I'm the closing supervisor. So I'm supposed to know who's coming and going, but they wasn't telling me nothing. They were kind of like doing dirty stuff. Um, no 3996s, no 1260s. There was no documentation ever filed there. Everything was like, oh, can you punch me out? And then that was it. Oh, yeah, sure. And they just punch you out. There was nothing written down. There was nothing, and again, I learned to, write this stuff down, follow the protocols, log everything like you're supposed to in DOIS, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to go down that road. But that's when I started like finding stuff. People were stealing packages from the station, leaving open boxes right there. And then you go pull up the tracking number, it's scanned delivered. And I was like, what the hell is this? It was like a culture shock for me. I started reporting some stuff that was going on. And then I noticed like nobody was doing nothing about it. And I took my notes, like I was very, from that point on, I got really organized with carrying my notes and making sure I backed everything up. And without going into too much, because I have an MSPB case that's hopefully nearing completion. I'm hoping it's almost over. But I will say that what's already public knowledge is that they were changing clock rings. There was no records of anybody changing them. The only reason why I knew who was doing it was because I'm a supervisor and all. I had supervisor access, so I could copy the ID number and look them up. And then I would always find out. After going round and round with my own boss, I saw a station manager position open. And I told my wife, I says, look, I don't want to go back up. I don't want to be a manager, a postmaster again. Not here, because it's not the same here. But it's, you know what they say? Dance with the devil you know, then with the devil you don't know. Well, in this
Yeah.
case, I danced with the devil I didn't know. And I thought the person that brought me from Montana was going to take care of me. He wound up screwing me. So all these little things, all these little events as a whole brought the Postal Truth to life. I was raised with telling the truth, always the truth, nothing but the truth. Numbers, facts, reality. Commentary don't mean shit. Excuse my language. Document, document, document. If it's not cited, Rich, it doesn't exist. That's people just making shit up like they always do. And I started bumping heads with people, other managers and stuff, because I was exposing these things. One day, I come off the weekend. Mind you, I'm already transitioning to the new station. I'm already in the new station, and everything's running okay. I'm trying to learn. The Postal Service is terrible about training. They want to send all these supervisors away, but you know what that is, right? That's just like a party time thing. because they go to these symposiums supposedly, right? And they don't really do nothing. And then they spend all this money to send everyone there when you can learn right in your station. It's a waste of money. Okay. Not the postmaster general, not my place. It got to a point, Rich, where I was seeing too much and I was catching too much. And I turned around, I told my wife, I'm gonna have to report this stuff now because this is bad. My supervisors are scanning packages by the thousands from 5 o'clock in the morning till I leave at 6:30 p.m. in the station. And then they're lying to the carriers and say, oh, well, we didn't do nothing. We didn't do nothing. But they're on the computer. Beep, 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 like crazy. So I blew the whistle. I called the OIG. They didn't do nothing. The OIG didn't do anything. They dismissed it. Okay. I was fighting for the money my prior supervisor owed me. They didn't do nothing either. Postal police didn't do nothing. Postal inspection didn't do nothing. OIG didn't do nothing. My associations didn't do nothing. Nobody did anything. They kind of just like left me to hang and you're on your own. Okay. I got walked off the clock. No justification. I cited my Elm 650 rights in the employee Elm, told them, nope, I want representation. I was physically escorted out the building. My ID was taken. They took my laptop and they took all my stuff and they threw me out the building like I was a criminal. That was the point. I got in my car and on that long ride home, I was on the phone with my wife, Rich, and I was like, that's it. 35 days. My postmaster kept me home for 35 days. Nothing in writing, nothing cited, nothing documented, no, it was like it never happened. And then they call me in for this bogus II with my MCSO. And I go into the meeting and I'm beyond fuming. Because I had a perfect record until I got to Florida. Never had no disciplines, no IIs. I had inquiries, but it was never nothing serious. Rich?
Right.
And then I started telling the truth about stuff because I started seeing the way the managers were talking to the carriers, reported that. Started seeing the way the supervisors were talking to the clerks and the carriers, reported that. And I started just reporting everything. Everything I saw, everything I wrote down, I started reporting. And then it just got worse. Next thing you know, I'm in an II. They try to pin 2,000 delayed packages on me, but they're the ones scanning packages from 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, all the way to 6:30. But they try to blame me for them. My postmaster and my MCSO try to blame me for them. And I fought them on that. I attended the II. And then, like, all of this stuff, I developed extreme anxiety, panic attacks, chest pains. I mean, the works. It just happened with all the stress and anger I was holding in. It kind of just like boom. So I was sitting at home with my wife, and it was like maybe the third month. I believe it was the third month. And I told her, I says, you know what? This is enough. There's people, and then I started reading, the articles on Facebook and carriers going through the same thing I'm going, but with their tour supervisors and their managers and their postmasters. And I said, you know what? I gotta come clean. I gotta do this interview. I gotta tell people what's happening. So that's when I got with Lino Miranda. Okay. And we hooked up. We had a couple meetings. And then we did a couple sessions. We filmed a couple things, and then he created that documentary. Um, I believe it was some errors and abuse. There you go. He created errors and abuse. It's on YouTube right now on his channel, Miami-Dade Transparency. That was a we originally recorded like an hour, and we cut it down to half an hour because we just kind of he wanted to just focus on the core things, and that's what we did. And I think it did well. I think it got like 6,000 views, if I'm not mistaken, a little higher than that. Facebook blew up. Yeah, here is a manager, a station manager, telling everybody what's happening in the stations. I've spoke to my congressman, my senator, my association reps from both associations. Okay. I mean, I've even tried to get a lawyer. No one helped me. No one. No one wanted to help me. No one wanted to like look into this. This was like totally unheard of. No, it's not possible. And after that third month of fighting with people on the phone, Rich, I said, you know what? I'm computer savvy. I'm going to start learning my own rights, and I'm going to learn to defend myself. And then I'm going to create a platform to help people like me. Everyone, doesn't matter what craft you in. Because for me, that's just, we work 8 hours, between 8 and 12 hours together every day. We spend more time at that station, those post offices, than with our own family.
Yeah.
So the fact that they got everybody fighting with each other, and yes, they do have trainings where they try to put the managers against the craft and the craft against the man. It's all a system set up so everyone can keep fighting. And it doesn't get any better. Here come negotiation time for contracts because now everybody's already pissed going in. There's no clear heads anymore. You know? That's when the Postal Truth was born. I said, you know what? I got to come up with a catchy name. And I started, going through my phone looking for names and stuff. And I said, okay, I'm a postal worker. Okay, so postal. And then my wife came around and she says, well, you believe in telling the truth. You believe in integrity. So call it the Postal Truth. And that's where the name came from.
Smart
Now we had
woman.
a name. Yeah, she is definitely a smart one. She's my partner in everything. I mean, that girl, it was her idea to open the coffee business because she knows we drink a lot of coffee as postal workers because we're always moving. So I says, well, how else can I contribute to my constituents in this situation? And we'll get into that later if there's any time. But I sat down. It took 3 days. I was determined. And I started looking up policies, pulling the elm, because it's online. It's public knowledge. They have to publish it.
Right.
And this is the thing that people don't know. All these rules and regulations, Rich, they have to publish them. They
Right.
cannot just like hide them.
Right.
They give the illusion like it's not public. But
Right.
once it goes online, it's public information. There's nothing they can do.
Right.
So I started, you can't copy because if you copy, they try to sue you or they try to silence you or they try all these other weird things, right? So I said, okay, I'm going to create the platform, but I'm not going to create anything based on my own words. I'm going to quote their own policy. Well, how do you do that? You provide the links to their policy. And then piece by piece, everything started coming together. And then I grabbed Lena on and says, hey, you want me to throw your CREA application on the Postal Truth website so carriers and anybody can see it? He said, yeah, no problem. Threw that up there, got a couple other things. And then I said, you know what? I dealt with the president of NAPS. I've spoke to the man on the phone. My wife spoke to this man on the phone. I'm still sitting at home because they failed to represent me. For UPMA. UPMA failed to represent me. It wasn't NAPS, it was UPMA. The local president of NAPS failed to represent me. He sat in my office for an II that they forced me to conduct on my supervisor. And then the guy came in and I told him, I'm going to just tell you right now, nothing's going to happen here. I'm just doing it because we have to do it. We're going to call this a learning lesson. And we went through it. And then we had a formal discussion like adults. Because that's how we're supposed to treat you guys, like adults. We're not kids. But they feel like they have to yell at you, scream at you guys, force you guys to do things that are unsafe, force you guys to do all these things that go against your own beliefs. And then say, well, or else. Or else what? Is this not America? What the hell's going on here? And this is the only organization. And people get mad when I say this, Rich. You're probably gonna get so with me too, but people think that this organization is public. It's not. It's been privatized since the 60s. They don't want the public to know that. They didn't want us to know that. There was this young kid who did a documentary about his dad. I don't know if you saw it, called The Great Postal Heist.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
Actually, yeah,
Yeah.
I actually helped them do that documentary.
So all those companies you guys put in there,
Yeah,
they own the postal service. But the narrative is it's a public system. It hasn't been public since the 60s. Why? Because they gave us rights, but then they took something away. So in order to give us rights with the unions and the associations and all the background, they had to take away the public trust. So they took it away and made it privatized and just didn't say anything. So the fact that everybody's fighting now because of what's going on with the White House, the administration doing things and making changes, I felt it was time to come up with a platform that's going to help everybody. Even customers, believe it or not, this help customers too. Because there's stuff on there that customers can look up that'll help them understand the postal service. Now they got this thing about Amazon again, which we totally got ripped off on. That's a no-brainer. $2 a package, regardless of the size. I don't know what they were thinking. Okay, we're gonna leave that one alone. But now you're talking about all these grievances that were just paid out. What was it, 1 billion?
1 billion, 864 million.
Oh my God. And it's all because they won't follow the policy. It's simple. If it's not written, you can't do it. Don't do it. But they have this thing, and I've heard it with my own ears, and I've said this live before, and I'm going to say it again. Some managers will say, I know he's going to grieve it, but fuck him, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah, pay him, fuck it, I don't care. And that's why we're in this problem. I heard my own boss say that to my constituent about a carrier. And I just looked at him. I didn't say nothing. I just looked at him and went, they know you guys are going to grieve it, and they still don't care. So how is this fixing anything? It's not. I wanted to give you guys and people like me who've been sitting home, what is it, 3, 4, on the 12th, makes 11 months I've been sitting at home. You know what those son of a guns are doing now? They're supposed to have me on administrative leave because of a failure to accommodate me. They violated my accommodation rights. So that's why we're in MSPB for that and a couple other things that they violated of the postal policy. And again, it's still an allegation until the judge finds them guilty. But we'll leave that like that. But 11 months, Rich. First they weren't paying me. Now I call out sick FMLA because they keep violating my FMLA rights too. And then they go in there in my time clock and they change it to like if I'm working. I'm sitting at home and they're paying me like if I'm on the clock. They're still committing time fraud. And they know it's an MSPB and they're still doing it anyway. Why?
Angel, let me ask you something. Let me have you. There's a lot to ask here. Uh,
Yeah,
let's back up for a second.
yeah, go ahead.
When you said that you reported to the OIG that they were scanning all those scans and they're
Yep,
falsifying all the scans, and
yep.
OIG didn't do nothing about it, postal inspectors didn't do nothing about it. Did you go to the local union presidents and let them know about it, or
Oh,
you
they
left
knew
that
about it.
alone?
They knew about it.
And they didn't do nothing either?
They knew about it, Rich.
So
The
this
union
whole so,
used
so
to
this
sit in my
whole
office and we used to talk over coffee.
so this whole thing is a corruption all the way from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top.
All the way from the top in DC, all the way down. And then the problem is that not everybody that works in headquarters is that way. Not everybody that's in management works that way. I never worked that way. They are trying to force people to work that way. And it was because I refused to follow that, Rich, is why they got try to get rid of me.
Well, they
But
obviously, I think it worked, Angel, because if other supervisors and
yeah,
managers are looking at you now, they'd be like,
yeah,
look, get in line or be like Angel. I
yeah.
mean, that's the bottom line.
You're right. Be like Angel. You're absolutely right. But it takes a strong person to live through what I lived through. And I mean, I'm still here.
But what is the end game, though? Where is
Game
your avenue of justice? Where are you getting the justice from?
MSPB was the first people to take my case and actually hear me. It is now before an administrative judge right now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And you feel confident that you're gonna get somewhere with
Oh,
that?
I believe I am. I believe I am, Rich. The paper trail I have on them is so deep. I mean, I didn't even submit everything because the judge didn't ask for it. But once the judge does ask for it, I got a dossier about yay thick for him.
Now, Angel, I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm a union rep for 24
Mhm.
years, and I have never seen, or maybe I haven't noticed it. I don't want to say, I don't want to say things are different now. I think everything is led. I think everything was set up to be this way.
Hmm.
Okay. I think things were going good in the beginning. That the first 15 years of my career, it was going good. The union had strength, the union had muscle, and little by little, they took that muscle away. Little by little, they took that muscle away. They bought us with money, with
Mhm.
grievance payouts. They bought us with that. We took the role of settling at the lowest level. We took the role of giving away the cease and desist. We took the role on, we just bought into the bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay. And now we're trapped in a, as far as I'm concerned, Angel, I don't think the darkest day of the Postal Service has been here yet. I really
No.
don't think the darkest day has been here yet. I think the darkest day is yet to come. And I think that dark day comes. I think we're all going to have a culture shock because we're going to
Yeah.
be obsolete overnight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we did it to ourselves. Not politicians, not the
Yeah.
post office, but the craft employees. They did it to themselves. People lost fight.
Yeah.
Um, you
They
know,
gave up.
they gave up, and rightfully
Yeah.
so. The order to beat a system that's so big is you exhaust it. You
Yeah.
make people exhausted, you
Yeah.
know? And I gotta be honest with you, I'm getting tired, Angel. I'm getting
Yeah.
fucking tired, you know? I'm getting tired. And I'm only fighting the local fight, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I'm not fighting the national fight.
Oh yeah, I'm taking on DC right now. So yeah, it's a fight.
Yeah,
It's
and I gotta
a
tell you,
fight.
man, I really appreciate you coming on here, sharing your story with me. We're gonna get into it deeper, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me. I just the one once you said to me OIG, postal inspectors, nobody did anything, no one from district, no one from Washington, everyone just turned a blind eye. I'm saying to myself, well, where the fuck is the union in all this? Where's the union in all this? There should have been hundreds of grievances filed just on
Yeah.
our behalf.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. But most of the time, the craft workers will come to me, the carriers that carriers will come up to me and they say, "Man, it's like I go to the union and they tell them, Rich, oh no, we have to pick and choose our battles. We can't just be fighting for no reason." And I looked at this person, I'm like, fight for no reason. They fighting for your rights.
You know, Angel, I have a saying. I have a saying. Every grievance that a union representative has to file, they lost already. They
Yeah.
lost already. It's already a loss. Because if we
Hmm.
have to file a grievance for a violation of a contract that was agreed upon, we're already lost. So
Yeah.
what do we have to gain other than winning? Or if we lose it, they say they have to they could do it. They're doing it anyway. What's the
Yeah.
difference?
They're
What's
doing
the
it anyway. It,
difference?
it doesn't even matter. They're going to do it anyway. And
Right.
this is the,
You know, I mean, I don't understand that concept of we have to pick our battles. No,
yeah.
the union does not have a say in what battles they pick. They they pick the battle what the craft employee wants them to pick. That's it. They work for the pleasure of the letter carriers. But you know
Yeah. Yeah.
that's something else. Um,
Yeah.
you already answered this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Maybe you could
Oh,
give it a little bit more detailed. What moment or experience made you realize something like the postal truth needed to exist? I think you already answered that question, but
hey, you're looking at him, Rich. Everything that happened to me already in the last 11 months, all because I told the truth, man. I figured if I could understand if I lied. I lied under oath. Yeah, I broke a dozen policies. They have a paper trail a mile long on me. Okay, fine. Yeah, I kind of had this one coming. This is all me. But I had a perfect record. There was nothing in there.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, this is amazes me. Um,
Yeah.
in your view, what is the biggest gap between the official USPS policy and what employees actually experience day to day?
Training. Training. I
Knowledge is
mean,
power, right?
yeah, knowledge is power, which is why I built the site. Again, it's 100% free. I don't charge anything for it. The information's there. It's direct links where you need to go, who you need to speak to, who's the president of all these unions and associations. How do you get to EEOC? How do you get to MSPB? How do you get to the National Labor Relations Board? How do you contact your senator? How do you contact your congressman? Shit, how do you contact the White House online? Everything is there. And it tells you step by step what you need to do. I don't
Yeah,
charge for
I
that.
gotta tell you, Angel, I was just trolling on my TikTok one day, and somehow, some way, the coffee got me. The coffee got my attention. You know how I love
Yeah,
my coffee, and
yeah,
then I saw like the testimonies that you had on there, the videos, and then I clicked on your page, and I says, "Oh shit, this shit's real. This is good stuff
yeah,
here." And then I went onto your website, and I got news for you. After I looked at that website, I says, "I gotta get this guy on my podcast, man. I gotta get him on here." So I sent you that message, and
yeah,
luckily for me, you answered, and here
yeah,
we are. I mean, this is
yeah.
great. But I gotta tell you, you're doing a great job. You really are
I'm
doing a
trying.
great job. And
Thank you.
I gotta tell you, I respect the fact that you're standing up against your own people for what's right. And I
Yeah,
gotta tell you, it means a lot to me that there's people out there in management that still cares because it
yeah,
doesn't feel like that lately. It really doesn't.
I know.
And I hate to say it, I think it's the product of the environment. I think you could see it both ways. In some way, you could see why management's bitter, and you could see why the carrier's bitter, why
Yeah,
the clerks are bitter. You could see it, but this is
morale
what,
is super low.
yeah,
Morale to the floor, Rich, and it's because of what's going on. We need to, it begins in the local level, right? Headquarters is going to be headquarters. We know that already. They're going to bark all their orders till they turn purple, right? Because that's what
Right.
they do. They're bureaucrats. They sit in the office all day. They drink maybe Postal Truth coffee, maybe not. And they just tell people what to do on telecons all day while yelling at them. Then it trickles down because shit always trickles downhill.
Right.
And then by the time it gets to the managers, they're already burned out. So now they hit the supervisors. The supervisors are pissed now because they're getting threatened to get written up by the manager for failure to follow instructions. How do you fail to follow an instruction you didn't get directly? And this is
Right.
the little wordplay games they're playing now. And they're manipulating the managers to be dictators. And I'm sorry, but I want to go to heaven when I die. So no, I will not be selling my soul to the devil.
Right.
I would I do all of this again? Yeah, I would. Would I be better prepared knowing the things that I know now 11 months ago? If I can go back and tell myself, Adrian, you need to start saving money, you need to put away at least 20 grand. Just put it away, don't touch it. Because you're gonna need it for a rainy day. I would have done that.
Right.
But my poor wife, God bless her soul, working crazy hours at the Home Depot for me. And I got to give it to her. She's still fighting. She still gets on the show with me, puts on her makeup, and helps me give the show. Because there was a point in time, Rich, where honestly, I felt like you. I was ready to just throw it in.
Right.
No one cares. Why am I bothering for? I built all this for everybody to help. Nothing. They just talk about me. They degrade my character. I'll give you an example. In one of my paperworks that I filed, they were saying I was the worst manager in Miami. But there's nothing on my record. So how am I the worst manager in Miami? They
Right.
put LWAP, right? Check this out. They have me in a Form 50 LWAP while paying me at home. How is that even possible?
Wow.
And I got a raise too.
Wow.
But I'm so bad. HR gave me a raise while sitting at home.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, you gotta love that one.
yeah. And it seems like, in my view, in my eyes, it feels like the worst supervisor gets promoted. The good supervisor gets left behind, you know?
Yes.
Good people get left behind. It's the animals that get passed through and they get advanced very
Yeah.
quickly. And that's what they
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
They they want machines that they can control. And once that machine challenges the establishment, now you become a target yourself. And it doesn't matter if you're in a craft like yourself or a management like myself, you're a target and they're going to get rid of you. And yeah, they put me out of the office, but in the end, I'm still here.
Angel,
I'm still,
is there any way is there any hope that this could get fixed?
and we're in the postal service.
Everything, just the whole thing. I mean, I feel the system is so broken. It's even if we could fix it, it's gonna be years before we'll get it back on track.
You have to tear apart the current structure that's there now and start fresh. And only put people there that know the system. The
So
the issue with
insiders, basically, not the
insiders,
outsiders.
insiders, and I'm not saying you're never gonna fail. I mean, managers are gonna fail, supervisors fail. We're human. We make mistakes. We make bad judgment calls on routes and pivots and stuff like that. But this this is different, Rich. We're bleeding money. Look at Denmark. They stopped delivering mail, first class mail to their citizens. Everything is email. They shut the mail service down. If we're not careful, that's going to be us.
And Canada is doing that too, from what I
Yep.
understand.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
putting up CBUs now and forcing customers that were on the route for years. to go to a cluster box because they can't afford the carriers anymore.
Right.
It's it can get fixed, Rich, but it has to start at the local level, not at the top. You have to start at the local level. If you start at the top, it's not going to fix anything. They're just going to hire someone else that knows nothing about the Postal Service. Case in point, our current administration knows zero about the Postal Service, but holds the highest title of the agency.
Right.
They did this twice already, and where has it gotten them?
Right.
And you would figure that they would learn their lesson the first time, but no, let's do it again. You know, maybe the Postal Board of Governors needs to be the ones in front of Congress instead of the Postmaster General. Maybe they need to question them. Why do you guys keep outsourcing this position? You guys are all, we're all postal workers. Why don't one of you become Postmaster General?
Yeah. That's a good question.
I mean, what do I do?
Why do you think so many postal workers struggle to access or understand policies like the Employees and Labor Relations Manual ELM?
It goes back to information, where to access information. Um, Sometimes and in my experience, I'm not saying this is what you did, Rich. I'm saying in my experience with my unions in the past, you see them once or twice, and then when you need them, you can't find them nowhere. And this is the problem. No one knows who to talk to, what papers to file, who they need to contact, who do they need to like submit this paperwork to, what part of the agency is it HRSSC, is it Sioux Falls, for example, is it over in Louisville? No one knows because they don't tell nobody anything. It's a sink or swim mentality. They have to change that. They have to flip that. No more sink or swim. Provide access to the education beginning at the local level. If we all take it upon ourselves and say, okay, our guys need to know this, our gals need to know this. We're going to teach our brothers and sisters X, Y, and Z. Forget about everybody else. We're going to do this because if we don't do this, this is going to happen. And it starts there. It begins in the local level, in the local stations, in the local unions, in the local associations. And if we can get our members to do that, get the administrative portions of the unions to do that, the shop stewards, the presidents, the vice presidents, etc. All of us, not just you guys, not just myself, all my constituents, but everybody as a whole would have the tools they need to succeed. If I was Postmaster General, it would be done that way. Education first. Numbers, facts, reality.
Now, you think it's worked, uh, like the grievance process is supposed to be a joint process, right? The grievance process is a joint process. The
Correct.
8190, the biggest law is a joint, it's a joint process. We're supposed to build the grievance file together. We're supposed to discuss it, argue, dispute it, make up our points and resolve it, if the party has the merits of the case. The
Correct.
biggest lie, all right? But
Yes.
in reality, if we could create a joint effort of training with the shop steward and the supervisor in a station where they go to training together, with the DRTs, with the unions slash labor relations, and they do a joint training together, and both of them learn the tools that are needed to run the workroom floor, to understand the grievance process, to understand the contract, to understand the violations, to understand what's right and wrong for the carrier, for the shop steward, and for the supervisor. What do you think about something like that? If
I'd
if
say it works. I'd
if
say it works.
yeah,
It works. And the reason why I say that, I got a buddy of mine in another acronym agency who is in charge of the EEOs for his union. I won't say which union because I'm not allowed to. He
okay.
asked me not to. But I will say it works. That's exactly what he did. He got all the managers together, all the shop stewards, all the people in charge that manage these clusters into one training and all understand the rules, the policy, and what they're supposed to do. Now, if they break it after that, now that's just free will. They decided to do that. Instead of following, now they broke it. And that's the thing. But does it work? Yeah, it works. If you really wanted to, you have to give and to receive. It has to be a joint effort. It can't just be you, Rich, doing this stuff, and your members don't want to buy into it. They have to lean into that too. They
Right.
have to take the Thursday night, whether they want to or not, instead of watching Monday Night Football, for example, for one night, and
Right.
go into this training so you can tell them what their rights are, how to deal with these situations. In case you're not there, they could defend themselves.
Right.
Or point them to resources like ours where they can go find it themselves if they can't find you. You're a busy man. I'm sure you got hundreds of grievances you're dealing with now.
Yeah.
This is why other avenues are there. They're supportive. They're not here to replace. They're here to support what you're doing. So that way they know what they can do to defend themselves to give you time to write that grievance up. Or if you can't get to it, they can get that information and defend themselves on their own until someone else can get to them and help them. It's a resource, it's a tool to help. Whether they're using it like that or not, I have no idea, but that's what it was meant for. So, yes, it works if you wanted to.
Right. Do you believe confusion is accidental, or is there a culture that benefits from employees not fully understanding their rights?
Accidental, no. Understanding your rights, yes. It's not accidental. I will speak for myself and provide an example. During my first couple of weeks in the station, they had me do a supervisor training on attendance. And in this training, not once did they say, okay, if you have an employee with trouble attendance, this is how you deal with them. This is how you speak to them. You sit them down, you coach them, you find out what the problem, find out if there's anything you can do to help. Everything that Elm says we're supposed to do, it was opposite. Oh no, well if they refuse, you just fill out this form, you submit that, you file the I, and you just do this. And it's so aggressive. And I'm writing this stuff down. I'm like, oh no, this is crazy. They're training the new supervisors to be aggressive towards you guys because they're getting pressure from their bosses and their bosses' bosses and the 20,000 executives in DC who've never worked a mail before. And it becomes an avalanche.
Right.
And it's not going to change until people start learning their rights and learning how to speak and learning what to say and what not to say, learning how to address the situation without getting angry. That's the hardest thing you could do.
Yeah. And someone taught me you have to respond, not react.
Correct.
You have to respond, not react. And
Yep.
that is a key. You
Yep.
know, I said this to one of the carriers the other day that had an incident. They took the bait like a fish. They took the bait like a fish. The supervisor was so wrong, but the carrier was so terribly wrong as well. And you turn two wrongs, don't make a right, and you just leveled out the complaint. You know,
Yep.
both sides have a legitimate complaint of both actions. They
Yep.
took the bait. You took the bait. Why react? Why react? I don't, this is where knowledge has power. I think before I talk. I call a hot house for a reason, but I look, I know a lot of people listen to me right now, and they're probably going to be saying, "Yeah, all right, Rich, you think before you talk, my ass."
Wow.
All right, but it took years. It took a lot of years to get this way. and a lot of bad fucking mistakes. But you got
Yep.
to think before you talk. Just think
Yes.
about it. Just think about what you're about to say and replay it in your head and think and say to yourself, is that a good idea to say right now? Is that a smart move? It's that simple. I mean, look, we need a response, and response means outsmarting the opponent. It's not about who's stronger, who's tougher, who's louder, who's going to be more intimidating. Because at the end of the day, no one's intimidated. No one's intimidated. That supervisor play wouldn't mind them getting punched by you. They'll be out for freaking 3 years on medical leave. They don't care.
Yep.
You know what
Nope.
I mean? You're taking the bait. You're taking the bait. And
Yep.
you know, listen, I think we need to learn how to respond. And that's one of the classes I think I'm gonna put together. I don't know how I'm gonna structure it, but I'm gonna put together a class, a workshop, how to respond and no reaction. You know,
Yeah.
don't take the bait. Don't be a fish in the ocean. Don't take the bait. It's that
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah, I agree.
What are the most common mistakes workers make when trying to document issues or protect themselves?
The little things. The little things count. The smallest detail can be the biggest evidence you have later.
Yeah.
Write everything down meticulously. Like if you was a stenographer in a court, you know how they write everything the judge says and everything the lawyers say and everything everybody says in detail? They call that a diplomatic transcription. Diplomatic transcription, Rich. You must train yourself to be a diplomatic transcriber on everything you do.
And it's
You
really
see
not
something
hard to
wrong?
do. It's not really hard to do. It's really
No,
not. You know,
just down.
we have this thing, we have this cool device now called the smartphone. And
Yep.
it's got a journal built into it. And you
Yes.
can document everything on there. So when you
Yep.
hit the road, before instead of sitting there buying a drink, buying pretzels, buying junk food, take 5 minutes and document everything that took place in the last hour while it's still fresh in your head.
Yep.
Before 2 weeks down the line, you can't remember. You know what happened, but you can't remember any detail.
You don't remember the minute details, and that's the most important thing. That's what got me this far, the details, the very small details.
Yeah, I'm with you on
Because
that.
the agency is going to quote policy on you. When you go to file these grievances and these court petitions, they're quick to file policy on you, but they're not quick to follow their own policy. So those
Right,
little details, Rich, can save you later.
right. Well, I think you answered this question already, but I'm going to ask it again.
Okay.
Why call it the postal truth? What does truth mean in this context?
Clarity. Clarity.
Perfect.
The truth is clarity. I mean, there's no gray area with the truth. Numbers, facts, reality.
Absolutely. Do you see this platform as correcting misinformation or exposing something deeper within the system?
It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. Um, it's correcting misinformation because I hate to say it, but my constituents are known for this. They love to provide misinformation or what they call house rules. Well, no, I don't have to pay him administrative leave because I don't feel like it,
Right,
even though the policy says you need to.
right,
Or I could walk him out the clock and not write anything down. I can do whatever I want because I'm the postmaster and this is my station and I'm responsible. Yes, that's correct to a degree. The person, the constituent in question has rights just like you do. The craft employees have rights just like the supervisors or other EAS personnel that's there. EAS gets certain privileges that craft don't. Craft gets certain privileges that EAS don't. It's the system. Like you said earlier, it was developed that way. So if you know the rules say you can't do this, why do it anyway? If the rules say you can't work a person on a seventh day, for example, why make them work the seventh day when you
Right.
know you're not supposed to?
Right.
Because again, going back to the beginning, I mentioned this, they don't care. Because in their mind, their justification is moving the mail, not the safety of the employee, but moving the mail. So they don't get yelled at by their boss. And it's become a culture of aggression. It's not a culture of family anymore. I mean, when I started in the plant, Rich, I was throwing parcels overnight in the annex in Great Falls, Montana. And every Saturday we had pizza. Everybody got together, supervisors, craft, everybody got together, bought pizza every weekend. The pizza guy would come with like 10 boxes of pizza.
Right.
Unless nobody wanted pizza, then we didn't order that particular day. But for the most part, everybody worked together, everybody talked, everybody, yeah, your day sucked, mine sucked too. And then the jokes came out in the break room and everything. And then it was back to work and we finished our shift and went home.
Right. That was
But
the good
that
old
was like
days.
7, 8 years ago. It's not like that anymore. You got more up on it than I do, but this is not the way, this is not what I signed up for.
Right.
I signed up for that. You know, growing up, everybody would say, oh, yeah, you need to get a federal job. You got to get a state job. You got to get a city job. You set for life. Boy, was my dad wrong. God rest his soul.
He wasn't
My dad,
wrong during his time, that's for sure.
no,
You know,
no, it wasn't. It wasn't during his time. Yeah, I agree, Rich. Um, but even in the end, with him, he was forced into retirement too. The police department in New York did a number on him, you know, and he was forced to retire, what, 10 years early, 5 years early, something like that. I don't remember exactly. He died a few years ago. But yeah. And that was the way I was brought up. Like you got vested, you did your 20, 25, and then you left and you live your life.
yeah.
Go fishing, go swimming, go do something.
Right.
Go go drive a sports car in your mid-50s. I mean, hey, go live past glory.
Yeah.
That's what I was told to do. And that's what I thought I was gonna do here. And then I got to Florida and that all changed on me. Had I stayed in Montana, I'm pretty sure I would have been postmaster of Billings. Pretty sure.
Now, but it's changed everywhere, though. It's not just Florida. It's everywhere. This system is falling apart everywhere. I mean, there's no
It's
mail
falling
being
apart everywhere.
delivered in Michigan, no mail being delivered in New York, no mail
Yeah.
being delivered in Boston, no mail being delivered in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. The
Yeah.
system is broken. It's bleeding. It's bleeding miserably, and the system is suffering from no leadership,
Yeah.
no leadership skills. That's where the system is bleeding from. It's no
They're not training.
leadership.
They're not training them anymore. They're not training them, Rich.
and
That's the
and,
problem.
and no offense to the CCAs. And listen, I mean no offense to the CCAs, but how you have someone that just got hired on a job, maybe a year in, and they're already acting supervisor? How does that happen? They don't even know the job from A to M, and they got them running the show from A to Z. I mean, they didn't even get to the letter M yet. I mean, I'm not talking about pay scale either. I'm talking about the steps of knowing the job. Look, I'm
Yeah.
26 years on the job. I'm still learning shit. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
And I mastered my craft. I know the rules. I dealt with the grievances. But every once in a while, I get a reality check that I don't know it at all because there's
Yeah.
something new that pops up. Like, holy shit, I have to actually look this up. You know, it's,
Yeah.
you know,
You're right. You're right. You're right. I,
you
I,
know,
I have to agree with you.
yeah,
It's
I, the post office is like we got more manuals, we got more policies, we got more regulations, but it's not followed. Nothing is followed.
No,
Nothing.
nope,
Nothing is followed. And if
nope.
you got a good union rep that knows the rules and they know how to follow agreements, they could hold management accountable left and right. And this is why probably my local management hates me because I hold them accountable on every little shit.
Yeah,
And you know, the way I look at it, Angel, if there's a crack in the window, why am I not going to fix that crack?
yeah.
Am I going to wait for it to break when you can't break, you can't fix a broken window?
You can only tell a person so many times to fix that broken window before you get angry and start documenting. And
Yeah.
that's what it is. They keep breaking the same damn window.
And the shit that I hear carriers tell me that they're afraid to give a statement, you know, but they're not afraid to call out sick, but they're afraid to
Yeah,
give out a statement.
yeah,
That's a cop out. That's a cop out. That really
yeah,
is a cop out. I don't know.
yep.
We're going off track here. How do you balance presenting facts without it turning into advocacy or confrontation?
Okay. The biggest guide, Rich, for myself personally, I stick to what's written.
All right,
We don't add nothing else.
that's it.
Yep. And
That's it. There's a
I've done
reason why.
investigative interviews before, and I've stuck to what's written. Not what did this supervisor say? What did that supervisor say? What's written in policy?
Right.
And I think if more managers did that, we'd have less problems right now.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with
You
you.
know?
I mean, it doesn't matter who's got it. You know, it doesn't matter whose friend it is. It's what's
Yeah.
written in stone is what it is. That's how it
Yep.
goes. It's there for
Yep.
a reason. Oh,
Yes, sir.
the contract wasn't. Look, someone said to me once, the contract is not morally right, but it's contractually right.
Correct.
You know, that's the bottom line. It's not about
Correct.
section one, about how rich she feels, and section two, how Angel feels. It
Yeah.
doesn't work that way,
Yeah.
you know? Have you faced pushback for trying to bring more transparency in the workplace? I think you answered that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I lost constituents that I used to talk to every day almost. Again, you work with these people months and years, and now I have people that I worked with for years stop talking to me because I started coming forward and telling the stuff. And I was told by one person in particular, I won't give their name out of respect, but this person told me, oh, well, I don't appreciate you talking about the agency that way because not everybody's that way. And I said, you're right. And I've said that too. Not everybody's that way. Oh, well, you're painting this narrative. And I says, hold on. I'm painting fact.
Right,
You're painting narrative right now because you're assuming this is what I'm saying. And I'm telling you that's not what I'm saying. I'm quoting what's in policy. So if you can't handle what's in policy, maybe I need to worry about you. How do I know they're not sending you to spy on me?
right,
And that caused a lot of rifts between me and a lot of people because they don't want to get involved in what's going on, even though they know it's wrong. They know me being walked out that building for no reason was wrong. The way they did it to me was wrong. They not only violated my employment rights, but they violated my civil rights as an American. And they know this. Allegedly, right? It's still allegedly, though, until the judge says so.
yeah, you're not kidding.
Jesus Christ.
You emphasize documentation. Why is that so critical for postal employees?
Again, you can't even trust the person next to you anymore. People you worked with for years, they're turning their backs on you. So if you don't write stuff down, how do you know this person will throw you under the bus later?
Right,
And it's become a culture of fear and control. It's not unity no more. There's no more unity. Everybody's just fighting. And I'm tired of all the pills I'm on already, because of this job. You know how many anniversaries I missed with my wife because of this damn job?
Yeah.
The day my father died, I was forced to go to work.
Wow.
They didn't even give me breathing sleeve. I had to fight for that, man.
Wow. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah,
That's
it's
sad.
it. Yeah.
What's the difference between complaining about an issue and documenting it properly?
Oh, I mean, we all complain, but just write it down. If you write it down properly, you have evidence for later. And remember, the subtle details mean everything. The
Can,
smallest detail.
can you walk us through what a good documentation actually looks like in real situation?
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see. We don't want to make this super long. Okay. You get approached by the supervisor. You're 6 clicks late. Okay. Policy says 7 clicks and you're late, not six. We know this already. Okay. Supervisor says you're late. Yeah, I know I'm 6 clicks late. Oh, but you're late. You have an excuse? No, I'm just late. Okay. Well, are you going to use LWAP or annual leave? Excuse me. So now you're already in a defensive mode now because your supervisor is telling you that you have to use time or not be paid because you came 6 clicks late. You didn't tell that supervisor very calmly, I choose not to use any of my leave, nor do I choose to be marked LWAP. Oh, well, you can't do that. You have to pick one or the other. No, I don't. And you're not authorized to change my time without a valid 1260 or a 3189. That's it. You don't say nothing else to them. Once that person walks away, you write everything that happened down, exactly word for word, what they said, what you said, what policy you quoted, what paper, what form number you cited, what you said, what time it was when they started talking to you, what time you finished talking to them, and what time you wrote that report, and what time you finished documenting. All those little details count because when you get that information, you can then say, oh, this violated this code, and this code of the contract. Because they took the time to write the little minute details all the way down. So the more you document, the better it is for you later. This is where documentation comes in. Think smarter, not harder.
Absolutely.
It's fresh in your head, Rich. You said that earlier. While it's still
Yeah,
fresh in your head,
right.
take that 5 minutes, write it down. And if you don't know what to do and you can't find a shop steward, then there's the website you can go on and look up your rights there for the elm. If you can't get that, Korea has a thing where they give you a quick thing, I believe. You could ask it a question and it answers it for you. Leland Miranda built that from the floor up for that same reason, in case you couldn't get anybody. That guy is basically fighting everyone by himself too. He's like me,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know.
he's doing a
So
good job out there. He's doing a good
yeah,
job. God
yep,
bless him.
yeah. So that's how I would walk them through it if it was me.
Have you seen cases where proper documentation completely changed the outcome for a worker?
Yes, yep, I have. I'm living proof of that. I'm living proof. They didn't just dismiss my case. It's still ongoing. A few months now.
What does policy literacy mean to you in practical terms, not just as a concept?
Practical terms, it's a lifestyle. You have to train yourself to think that way. Not everyone thinks like me, thinks like my wife, your wife, etc. You have to train yourself to think that way mentally. Always staying 3 to 5 steps ahead of the person you're dealing with. That's a trait that's learned. it's taught over time through experience. Every loss you receive, Rich, is a win in the other end
Absolutely.
because you know what not to do again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
So
agree with that 100%.
yeah.
Absolutely. Why do you think many workers don't read or rely on official manuals like the Elm?
Because they have the union to save them, honestly. They have you, Rich.
Sometimes the union is good, but it's also bad at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, they have you, you know?
And they got us to blame when it doesn't go their way.
Yep,
Not the guy who actually drunk the beer, but the guy who actually defended them is the problem.
that's right. That's right.
In every employee, if every employee fully understood policy, how would that change the workplace dynamic?
If you get 20 carriers to know their rights against two supervisors that don't, that's going to be a one bad shift for those two supervisors.
Yeah, I'm with you. I
You
have
change dynamics.
one of my guys, Paul Cobb, he has a saying, what is more scarier than having the best shop steward in the installation? Five carriers that don't need them.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the God honest truth. I mean, if every letter carrier took the time and understood the contract, understood the F-41, understood the rules,
yeah,
and they don't need a shop steward for every little question. And listen, listen, don't misunderstand me. There's no such thing as a stupid question. There really isn't.
correct,
The only
correct,
stupid question out there is the one that you don't ask. So if you
correct.
need clarification, you ask it.
Yeah,
I don't care how small or how look, the littlest things become the biggest things in this company. You know,
correct,
no question is a stupid question, but if every carrier took the time and understood their job that they're required to know, you'll make the you'll make your life so much easier. You really
oh
would.
yeah,
You really would.
I agree.
And I guess this was leads to this question. Is knowledge alone enough, or is there still a power imbalance even when workers know the rules?
Yeah, that's one of those 50-50s. Because even with the knowledge and even with the power, there's still an imbalance.
Yeah.
I mean, when I walked into my RA, that was a clear example. I didn't even know there was going to be a lawyer in the room. No one told me. They had their lawyer there.
Wow.
Yeah. So even knowing the rules as much as I know, they still have there's always going to be an imbalance.
Right.
All these people you never met before that don't know nothing about what's going on, making a decision about your future. And that's it's rigged. It's rigged that way. And it's unfortunate, but that's what it is.
Is there a risk in encouraging workers to document and understand policy more deeply?
Oh yeah, there's always a risk with everything you do. Um, I mean, for me, my time is already setting, but for yourself and any other supervisor like myself that's still there working, yeah, it's a risk. There's a good possibility you'll wind up like me. They'll find a way, even if it means breaking the policy. They don't care. Because again, now you're out 11, 12 months with no money, no health insurance, no medicine. That's my situation right now. And I have a Form 50 action against you for LWAP, but yet you're being paid to stay home like if you're working.
Well, I guess this is where if every if every employee takes on a role of understanding the job that they're all hired to do,
Yeah,
and everyone understands their lane, and they master their lane, they master their craft, they master the knowledge of the policy, the regulations, then the post office could afford to put out all these angels out at once. There'll be no
Yeah,
one there to run the show.
yeah,
But if they only have one guy out of the pie that's speaking up and they could hurt you to shut you down, and everyone else is in line, then it's no consequence in that action.
yeah. You're right.
You
You're right.
know? And I'm
That's
not blaming it
yeah,
on our coworkers because
right.
the system is rigged that way. But
Yeah,
if everyone just stood together, solidarity, I mean, bottom line, we stood together like we did in 1970. Because in 1970, the letter carriers led that strike, but supervisors and clerks and mail handlers were out there with them. They
yeah,
were out there with them. We didn't do this alone. We did this together. And we could still do that now, you
yeah,
know? And let me tell you something. Just because this happened to Angel, don't don't believe that this ain't gonna happen to you.
yeah.
Because this could happen to anybody at any given time, at any time.
Hmm. Yes, I agree.
Have you personally experienced or witnessed retaliation for people who try to assert their rights correctly?
Yeah, myself.
That was a stupid question.
Well, well, not really. I mean, it's good to reinforce what we talked about. I mean, so the audience could understand. You could be just like me.
How do you advise workers to protect themselves while still staying professional and within the rules?
Number one, know your rights. Number two, don't wig out on your bosses. Don't tell them to go fuck themselves as much as you want to. Don't tell them you why don't you go jump off a bridge or something. Don't do anything aggressive. Don't argue with them and say it clearly. You are not refusing the order. You're not disobeying a directive. You are protesting the directive in question. Because as long as you don't refuse the directive, they cannot get you for insubordination. You're not refusing to cooperate, you're protesting under cooperation. There's a difference, which is grievable in your terms, appealable in mine.
Okay. So I'm not sure if this question is accurate, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
All right.
You make it clear you're not affiliated with the USPS or any union. Why was that important?
Okay. What I do is not on behalf of the organization. It's not on behalf of any union, association, any agency, state, city, federal, county, province, nothing. This is me independently exposing my experiences with the agency, exposing what I went through to bring awareness and knowledge to the general public about the systemic failures of the Postal Service, okay, and why regulations and accountability is important from not only Congress, but at the local level. Okay. It's important to note that because, let's face it, everyone has a lawyer now. And as soon as you speak on behalf of the agency, they sue you for misrepresentation. They sue you for this. They sue you for that. They shut you down. They discredit your credibility. And now you are like Angel, but with no platform at all.
Wow. Do you think being independent gives you more credibility or does it make things harder?
Both. A little bit of both. It does make things harder. And the reason why is because not that many people know me or they know of me, but they don't know me. So once they hear that I'm a manager, right away the stigma rolls in because there's that tug of war again between management and craft.
Right.
So it's harder to win over the audience, not really saying winning them over like, oh yeah, you need to watch me because I know everything. No, it's harder to get them to sit down and listen to you and
Right.
tell them, like you just said a minute ago, don't get it twisted. This couldn't happen to you.
Right.
In their minds, oh, I'm not gonna be that stupid. I had a carrier tell me this one time. And again, I didn't engage with him. He says, well, you look like one of those carriers that I had to go and clean up your mail after, and then they let you go home. And I turned around, and it's no secret. I've never said I carry mail. I've always said I never carried mail, which is why I always lean on the carriers to make the executive decisions in the field and just tell me what they're doing so I can coordinate it back at home, at the home base of the office. But my response to this individual was, I was never a carrier, nor did I ever claim to be a carrier. But if I was a carrier, I'd probably outcarry you. Because if you have enough time to complain about what other carriers are doing, then that means you're not doing your own job. Because if you're doing your own job, you're too busy. You don't got time to worry about anyone else. You're
Right.
doing your own work. You're
Right.
making sure your own route is done. So, yeah, take care of your house first before you come into this one. There wasn't no back and forth after that. And again, I said it in a respectful manner. And then I thanked them for his comment and wished them a happy day. Because again, you're not contributing to solve the problem, you're just contributing to the problem.
Right.
And this is not helping either situation. My goal is awareness, and I think I've done that now to a certain degree. Um, will this change in the future? I never know what's going to happen in my future. Right now, I started this coffee brand with my wife, and it's really good. I mean, I love it. Ooh, I love it. Probably won't be
Postal
able to see it
Truth.
now because I got this thing. Yeah. Yep.
Postal Truth.
Postal
Yeah, I
Truth
see
coffee.
that.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, we sold a couple pounds already of it. It's doing good.
And where
I
you
have
get
long
that
term
from?
goals.
Where you get that
What?
from?
Oh, the Postal Truth coffee?
Yeah.
ThePostalTruth.com.
PostalTruth.com.
Yeah.
All right, I'll put that in the description.
Yeah. So, and it's real good coffee. I love it. I mean, and I'm not saying that because it's my brand. I'm saying it because it's good coffee. You know, Born and raised in the Bronx. My dad drank a lot of coffee, especially when he was in the military. So I grew up
Yeah.
on coffee.
Right.
So I know good coffee.
Yeah. I love coffee myself, brother. I love coffee
Yeah.
myself. I'm gonna get myself a bag. How do you navigate topics that unions are also involved in without stepping on those boundaries?
Again, stick to the facts. It's important. You don't want to step on anyone's toes, but you want to just bring awareness, you know? And this is for everybody listening today. Don't cross any boundaries. Don't overdo it. Get your points across. Stick to the facts. Stick to your documentation and you'll be fine until you can get a hold of yourself, Rich, or any other shop steward that's local. But if not, know your own rights. It's I can't stress that enough. I say
Yeah,
that almost every show I was on for the last few months. I mean, we stopped for a little while, the live podcast, because of the whole MSPB thing, but
right,
we'll probably start up again slow and kind of cover other topics away from my situation,
right.
so they don't try to use that against me. The agency has tried some meticulous below the belt things already that have
Well,
luckily
that's probably the
failed.
only way they could beat you.
Yeah, well, you know, but again, I document everything, so
That's it.
have fun.
What does success look like for the Postal Truth?
Success. So I try to do things in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, and then I keep growing after that. Over the next year, we're hoping to grow the platform to more viewers on the YouTube side of it so that we can get a little monetization coming in to build the channel stronger. Everything that I'm doing now has a process. My long-term goals, though, for 5 years are this. Providing the coffee company does very well, and we start, my wife and I start getting extra funds to not only sustain ourselves, because now I'm retiring, so now I need to offset that income, but to start programs. Like I want to start an attorney program for postal workers, and then maybe branch out to federal agencies after that. But mainly postal workers, my brothers and sisters, regardless of where you are in what country or whatever. Anyone going through my situation, I want to try to help those people, as many of them as I can. I know we can't save everybody. I get that, but I want to try to do my part because, Rich, 11 months ago, I had nobody, just my wife. Not even my own family helped me. Nobody. Nobody. And I have
Yeah,
an
that's a
eight-year-old
lonely
kid
place
here.
to be. That's a lonely place to be.
It's really lonely. I'm not gonna lie. Even with my wife here, it's lonely sometimes.
Yeah,
It's she'll go to bed and I'm up to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning
yeah.
just laying in bed thinking,
Your
what
brain's
is
never
gonna happen.
resting. Your brain's never resting.
It's never resting and it's never peace. It's never at peace. So 5 year goal is to hopefully build a program where we can take some of the revenue that we make from this after we pay off our bills and everything and we catch up and start this program to help, postal workers. And it doesn't
That's
matter where you are, just everybody.
that's I gotta tell you, man, I really give you a lot of credit for that. That's awesome.
I
Um,
appreciate it.
have you already seen examples where your platform helps someone handle a situation differently?
Oh yes, I get a lot of text messages on TikTok. Yeah,
Yeah. Can you share
they text.
something with us?
Uh, yeah. Let me go in here. There was a gentleman. It was a while ago though. I probably can't even find the message now. There was a gentleman that asked me about um his local situation where his shop store wasn't helping him, and he needed certain forms. I don't remember the form. It was a few months ago. He was a carrier. I remember that. He texted me. He says, I just need to know what form I got to fill out so I can put in my own grievance because my shop store is not helping me." And I stopped him. I says, "Wait a minute. Did you try speaking to this person?" And he said, "Yes, I did." Okay. "Did you speak to the president of your local union?" "Yes, I did." "What did they tell you?" "They're in bed with management." And I said, "Okay, I'm going to give you this advice, but I'm telling you, I'm not a rep. I don't represent nobody. This is just me giving you advice. Whatever I tell you now, do what you can with it, and then go on the website and see if there's something there that can help you." And I always give them the website, the Postal Truth New York City's website. Go on there, and maybe there's something on there that can help you. And I gave him the information to fill out the paperwork. He was asking questions about the 1260s. Okay, that they wasn't filling out the 1260s. Said, okay. Did he fill out? Did the supervisor give you 3189? No. Okay. So they didn't give you a convenience form and they didn't give you the permission to change clock rings, but they're changing your clock rings. Yes. Do you have a copy of the clock rings? He said yes. I told him, okay, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna tell your shop steward that if they do not file the petition, you're gonna file and National Labor Relations Board claims against them. And he said, okay. I said, I don't want to tell you to do that because we're not, I mean, the idea is to work with the union, but if they're not helping you, I mean, you got to do what you
Yeah,
got
you
to do.
gotta do what you gotta
I
do.
get it. So I says, all right, you're going to file National Labor Relations Board charges on them. And then here's the Postal Truth website. And I typed it out for him and I says, okay, anything else you need, go on the website. There should be something there that can help you. If not, hit me back and I'll do what I can. I'll try to get you the information. And it works. Most of the time, that's what they do. They reach out to me privately and they either to thank me for providing a venue where they can go for this stuff. And a lot of people think I'm a carrier because I know these things,
Yeah.
and they kind of get shocked when I tell them I'm actually a manager, and they're like, "Wait, what?"
I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm a little shocked myself. I gotta tell you,
Actually,
I
pro-union though.
only
That's the thing.
wish that managers and supervisors have 1% of your mindset, just
Oh,
1%. It'll make our lives so much easier. It really
oh.
would. It
I mean,
really
if you
would.
guys, half of these grievances could get settled on the first step properly if they handled it this way. Talk,
Yeah.
talk to the members, talk to the shop steward, and
Let
say,
me tell
look,
you
I
something,
know.
Angel. Let me tell you something. All carriers want is to be heard. They
Yeah,
just want to be heard. They don't even care about the result. They just
yeah,
want to be heard.
yeah,
That it'll go a long way if a supervisor just listens for 5 seconds and stop arguing with them. Just listen to hear them out, let them calm themselves down. By the end of their sentence, they'll be cooled off. They'll be relieved that you actually listened, and then they're gonna do it anyway. That's all they want to do is be heard. It's that
yeah,
simple.
yeah.
It's listen, I always said this, and I could give a secret to all managers and supervisors that are listening right now. You want to know how to beat the union? You want to know how to beat the union? Treat your employees with respect.
Correct.
And then those employees will go through the wall for you. They will protect you from the big bad wolf union. Okay?
Yep.
They will protect you. All you have to do is show people respect. It's that
That's it.
simple.
That's it.
It's that simple.
Trust goes both ways. You got to give to get. You can't
Yeah, I
expect them,
mean, listen,
and then you
what
backstab. I mean, come on.
my favorite teacher of all time was Mr. Brown from IS 24. And he was a badass gym teacher. But I had so much respect for him because he had respect for us. He treated
Yep.
us like men. We were little boys being treated like men. Listen, you go through the wall for people that treat you with respect.
Yes.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah. I agree.
If this platform reaches its full potential, how do you think it changes the culture within the USPS workplace?
If the Postal Truth would reach maximum potential,
Yep,
I think it would be set as a precedence that the employees of the agency are not going to take any more shit. We all know the rules and we all know how to follow them. And if you come sideways, the only one that's going to look bad in the end is you.
that's it.
And I think that's the ultimate goal for the Postal Truth as a whole, both on the social media side as well as the coffee business, is to bring awareness somehow, some way. Either it's through a cup of coffee or through a podcast like yours, Rich, where they find out about the platform.
Right.
That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
So people know there's people that give a crap and they want to help them.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you believe most workplace issues come from bad actors or from a broken system?
I'm sorry, repeat that again.
Do you believe most workplace issues come from a bad actors or from broken system?
Both.
Yeah, I agree.
Both.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
they hire the worst managers now. They don't even train them.
No, they don't.
It's like, yeah. And I'm not gonna lie. I had two CCAs when I was first assigned the station manager to my station in West Carrier Annex. And they were CCAs as 204Bs, and they were there before I got there. So I mean, and I'm like, I mean, okay, I'm not gonna tell them they can't be here now because they were here before me, but is this even right? I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm with
okay.
you. I'm with you.
I mean,
You got to know the job before you actually supervise the job. You know, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know why we need supervisors since they're being micromanaged. I mean, all fairness, it's like my station manager here on Staten Island that doesn't even, he's afraid to make a decision.
yeah, he
He's
can't
afraid
make
to
a
make a
decision.
decision. He doesn't know what to do. He don't even know put a person on emergency placement. He don't even know what to do. They don't
Nope.
he's not a manager. He's a puppet.
Nope. Yep.
You know,
Yep.
it's
Yep.
it's sad. It's sad where
Yeah.
this company is.
Yeah. They
It
want
was
you
not
to know
like this when I
less.
first started this job. It was not like this in 2000.
No, it wasn't.
It was
It
not
wasn't.
like this.
Nope. Nope.
And you know what? I think managers were more intimidating back when I first started this job because they actually knew the job. They didn't need a computer to tell them how what type of day you had. They knew
Nope.
exactly what you had. But
Yep.
they were more intimidating, but they were much easier and ongoing. They were much more outgoing than they are today. They
They will
weren't
understand.
all uptight. They were
Yeah.
confident.
Yep. Correct.
Is the postal truth about fixing problems or about helping individuals survive within the system as it exists?
Both. Both. I mean, in order to fix the problems, you have to admit there is a problem.
Yeah,
And let's face it, the post office as a whole is a problem,
yeah.
you know? And that's just my personal opinion. It's not cited proof or anything. This is just observation from what I went through.
Well, it's an observation of 280,000 employees. I guarantee you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you're right. Yeah.
What's something most people still don't understand about working in the postal service?
The stress of this position is killer.
Yeah,
Anyone that's ever
I
worked
think
here will
one of
never
the
understand.
I think one of the problems with the retention program, uh, I think when a company needs a MOU about retention, I mean, right there alone, that tells me that there's a flag that needs to be raised here. Like, why
Yeah,
do we need to write a program about retention? I mean,
I
is it
agree.
really that bad that we don't know how to keep people in this job?
Yeah. Yeah, they created the program, Rich. Was it like 3 years ago? The retention
It
program?
was yeah, it was the last contract, 2022,
Yeah,
2023, something like
well,
that. Yeah,
something like that. It was
yeah.
22, 23. And the vice president, Eduardo or something like that in DC, he was a postal worker. He was a carrier, from my understanding, too, that moved up the ranks and became vice president. But he created that retention program so that we save money because we were wasting like what $1 billion a
Oh
year
my
in
God,
training.
we were spending I think it cost the Postal Service $5,500 for onboarding, and we weren't keeping like 60% of them. We're all
Yeah.
leaving, and we were
Yep.
constantly throwing that money away. You
Yeah.
know, I would
And
like to
it's
see
still
that. I would
going.
like to see the OIG make a report about that. You know, forget about the grievance process. What about the retention program? How much money was
I
thrown
wouldn't count
away?
on them that much, Rich. I mean, they didn't even know there was, stealing money out of my own station before I got there. So I mean, yeah, what do I know? The $2 million that they embezzled in Miami, that was my station.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I wasn't there, so they can't blame me.
Well, they're probably still going to try to.
Oh yeah. Good luck with that one. And the police department actually was the one that uncovered that. It wasn't even the OIG.
Yeah, well, I believe
Local
it.
Miami PD found out. How
You
did they
know,
find out before the internal affairs unit got to it? I can't.
I don't understand it. I mean, in OIG, they make good money. The postal inspectors
Yeah.
make good money, and they're useless. They're useless. If you could change one thing overnight in the system, what would it be and why?
Bye, DC. Why do you need a vice president for a vice president for an executive vice president for another vice president for a CEO for a shoe polisher to whatever?
Yeah,
Why is this not streamlined better?
right,
That's number one.
right.
And even though that's about 2%, um, I did it's funny you brought this question up. I did a totally self analysis on how to save the postal service, right?
Right.
and how to bring it back to life. It's on my Facebook page somewhere. If you scroll through it, you'll find it.
All right. I'll check that out when we get off this.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's on there. You got to go down though. It's about a month ago, I think I put it up. And I put all the information that's going on right now into the AI chat GPT. And it says, okay, I want to save the post office. This is what they're doing. This is what's going on. How could I fix this? Where would I start? And it gave me a detailed step by step on not only how to save the post office, but how to put them in a positive in
Wow.
like starting in the first year. So you're telling me this supercomputer figured this out, but all these guys in DC can't figure this out? There's something wrong.
Right.
There's something wrong because if a computer can figure it out, again, and I did this independently, this is
Right.
not, this is not, nobody solicit anything, and I'm not soliciting anything. I said, you know what? I kept hearing the postmaster general saying, there's no money, there's no money, there's no money. Congress, we're going to ask the Americans for money. If you guys did these steps, this is the money you would save along the way. And yeah, there are variables in between, but for the most part, if you stick to that, in the end, it was showing like a surplus of like 30 billion or something
Wow.
like that. That's me on my own. A washed up, semi retired manager figured this out with a computer in an hour. What's taking these guys 4 or 5 years of sinking, still haven't figured it out. There's
Well, that's
something wrong
because
there.
they're not thinking. Angel, they're not thinking. They're not here to save the Postal Service. They're here to destroy it. I'm convinced of that.
I mean, I won't confirm or deny that, but I will say that the obvious does appear so.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
listen, there's no, look, the Postal Service, it works. It
yeah,
works. It works. It's a service for the people. It's not a money maker. It never was a money maker. But money can be made if they just stop trying to get over on a system, on a contract that they agreed to.
yeah,
We have more, we spend more money in trying to get over on a contract language that we agreed to. Why
hmm
agree to it then? You pay a
yeah,
labor specialist, you go to arbitration, you know you're wrong. I heard the labor guy say, well, technically you're right, but I can't agree to that because my boss will eat me up. What kind of answer is that? They think you're getting paid $120,000 a year or 96,000 a year just to say that, yeah, you're right, but I have to still fight it. I know I'm gonna lose, but I still have to fight it because it looks good that I fought it. It just doesn't make sense to me, Angel. Like, if this
yeah,
is not created to destroy a system, then I don't know. Then I think that maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. I got to tell you, it's just the writing is on the wall. You
there's
know,
something weird in there.
yeah, it's very
Yeah,
weird. And I don't know what the end game is for all the managers who rely on this job for their livelihoods. What they're doing. Why are they doing it? Because if the Postal Service closes down tomorrow, their retirement and their salaries are gone forever.
yep,
And no one will hire them to be running their business. You ran the Postal Service to the ground. I'm gonna hire you.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yep,
I, I don't know. I don't know.
yeah,
Listen, that's for another show, but
yeah.
we could
Part
just go,
two.
we should have I really should create a roundtable discussion about this. I mean,
Yeah.
true roundtable discussion and everyone's opinion, and no one has got the wrong opinion. Just it's nice to hear other opinions and about what to bring some light to this because
Yeah.
trying to make sense to this unbelievable confusion is just it doesn't make sense to me.
I just shake my head now. I don't get it, but what do I know?
Yeah, well, I know too. I'm with you. I'm just a union guy. What the fuck do I know?
There
I'm
you
just a
go.
carrier. If a new postal worker is listening right now, What's the one thing you want them to understand from day one? Good
You're
question,
ice
right?
skating uphill. You're ice skating uphill. Is it exciting to get this job at first? Yes. Is it good money? Yes. Benefits are amazing? Yes. Retirement was good, not so much anymore. But when I first signed on, it was good. Yes. Now it's so-so. But you have to walk into this and understand that everything you're told, take it with a grain of salt, because what they say is definitely not what they do. And as long as you keep that to your mind, that you are walking into a situation where, in a blink of an eye, it can be very hostile and very aggressive from one minute to another, you'll be okay. I'm not saying walk on eggshells or anything, but just be mindful of what you're walking into.
Amen to that. What truth do you think people avoid but need to hear?
What truth? Okay, the Postal Service as a whole, as an agency, sucks.
Don't hold
Terrible.
back.
There's no training. The higher you go, there's definitely no training. Um, you learn, some carriers learn the right way. Some are learning from carriers that picked up bad habits from other bad carriers. And instead of learning the right way, they're breaking policies and doing things they shouldn't be doing. That makes the job harder. And know that you're going to be away from home a lot.
Yeah,
It's that simple. I
yeah,
mean, if you want a 40-hour a week job, well, get a city job. They work 40 hours a week and they go home.
yeah,
But the federal government, no, you
yeah.
know?
It's sad. It really is
Yeah.
sad. Where can people start if they want to become more informed and protect themselves better?
First thing you want to do, depending on your craft or where you're at, you want to start on your own union, your own local union stuff, because most of the time your local president is publishing up to date information if they're doing their job the right way. Um, they'll post it up on their website, bulletin boards, etc. After that, you'll get with your local shop stores because they may have extra information coming down the pipe that you can learn about to kind of stay up to date with current events. After that, platforms such as this one, like yours, Rich, where you're bringing in awareness, because we're not really calling this exposure, even though it is in a way. It's more of the lines of awareness because you're bringing awareness to your constituents. You want them to understand that the Postal Service is a good job, but at the same time comes with a lot of hassle. And as long as we get our members to remember that, we'll be okay.
Well, Angel, I think that's it for me. And let me ask you one last question though. Is there anything that we did not cover that you would like to add? Any closing thoughts? And that smile on your face tells me you got a lot of it.
I have a lot, but I won't keep the listeners here all day. Um, Guys, know your rights. Yes, I started this because it happened to me. Yes, it's a hard road. My wife and I came very close to losing everything. I mean everything, Rich. And we found a way to pull through. We survived, and we're approaching the end of the tunnel. If I was you, starting off now, I would put some money away for a rainy day. Save money, even if it's like a couple thousand, a couple hundred to start, then you work your way up to a couple thousand. Save some money in case something like this happens to you. Because we all say, well, that'll never happen to me. And the next thing you know, you go to work the next day, and guess what? Now you're the new angel on the block.
Right.
And you run into someone not like Rich there to take care of you, who is, as I was told several times in my own private chats, in bed with management. Now you're in trouble. What do? Lawyers cost money and they don't work on contingency. Let me tell you, as much as people let you believe that, they don't. A lot. You know how many lawyers I called? Only one of them said yes to take my case, and when they saw how hard the case was, they backpedaled and tried to tell me I didn't have jurisdiction.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
At the last minute, they told me I had no jurisdiction.
Yep.
And I told this individual, I says, well, how come MSPB took the case then if I have no jurisdiction? I don't know. You don't know and you're a lawyer? Oh, that's bad.
That's just a
That's
cop out. That's a cop out.
yeah,
They just
it was
saw
a
a
cop.
system. They saw a system that could tie their hands for a very long time.
Yes. And he took the cop out. But that's okay. That means I don't have to pay nobody nothing later.
Right.
So the idea is, Rich, I'm not saying this is gonna happen. I pray to God this doesn't happen to any of your listeners or anyone else I know still working in the post office. But if you're in that position, start now. Don't wait. Don't assume this will never happen to you. Because in a blinking of an eye, I again, speaking as someone who had a perfect record, nothing in his OPM, not one inaction against me. I am now sitting at home 11 months now,
Just for
fighting
speaking up.
just for speaking up and telling the truth. So yeah, telling the truth has its cause and effects too. Telling a lie is the same thing. So it doesn't matter which way you go, you're gonna lose either way. So you
Right.
might as well be prepared for that in case you do.
Right.
And that's basically what I got. Um, if you need more information, there's the website. Rich will give it to you. And if you guys like coffee, consider helping out because we are planning something big for everybody. And that's all I got for today. I'm good.
Angel, I thank you so much for coming on tonight, brother. Thank you for sharing your story, your platform with everybody. I really appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're doing too, Rich. Thank you for reaching out.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much. And for my
Yeah,
brothers and sisters out there, High House is going to call it quits now. And I hope everyone has a good weekend, a good week. Everyone, peace out.